The Oklahoma Sooners Week 1 depth chart shocked college football.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube, where you can get more college football and Oklahoma Sooners coverage. I'm John Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. And on today's show, was there some tampering going on at the end of last season? We'll discuss a Sooners target that may commit to Oklahoma on Wednesday, and position battles worth watching after we received our first depth chart for 2025. But Jay, let's start here with the depth chart. There were a few surprises ahead of week 1.
Yeah, I want to open up with this though, John. I want to make sure that the people hear your boy out. I need y'all to first go touch grass. Secondly, I need y'all to realize who we playing against is Illinois State. I did a video as an instant reaction over on my channel as well, but I'm going to repeat that here because I think some people need to hear this second and third times, John. The depth chart you see here is for game 1, Oklahoma versus Illinois State. Every time we've talked about depth charts, position battles, and all of that, we're talking about Michigan. The players aren't overlooking Illinois State, but we are. This is the reason why, folks. Illinois State last year did go 10-3, and they returned a lot of those players. Solid FCS team. They lost to Iowa 40-0. And we know Iowa doesn't score points. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
K. McNamara was the quarterback too there. Yeah, y'all remember him from Michigan, the guy that, basically got ran out, and they trying to figure out how to do the forward pass. Caleb Johnson was running back. He was really good, so he ran for a lot of yards, but they couldn't figure out the forward pass. They won 40-0. So when you look at this depth chart, it's one of those where we're more intrigued by who they want to see more film on or seeing game situations rather than who should actually start. Like, for example, you mentioned it, John. Jaden Ott. He is listed as third with an or next to him with Xavier Robinson. I saw people in the comments section that was losing their minds. People were shocked that of all people, Jaden Ott is third. Didn't we pay a bunch of money for him? Didn't we tamper for him? Tamper. Folks, why would you want your prize running back playing in a game when he was dealing with a little shoulder thing? In a game where you're probably going to win 45, 50, probably hang half a hundy on him. But John, there is one thing though I am a little perturbed about in this. I'm a little flabbergasted. I am rather just annoyed at the highest of levels. Not mad, just annoyed. Remember when we talked about this game before? Mm-hmm. Remember when we talked about some of our boldest predictions for this game?
Yes. I immediately thought of your bold prediction for this game.
Yeah, that's ruined now. Thank you, Oklahoma. I appreciate you just not even letting it play out. Not even giving me the opportunity to see it. Because when you look at the depth chart, John, you have kick returner Jaden Ott will be starting. If things go as planned, guess what's going to happen, John? They will kick the ball one time. Yeah. And we probably won't return it. So that means this dude's not going to get an opportunity to do nothing that I was hoping for. I'm mad now. Now I'm even more mad. The level has gone from slightly perturbed to now just an ounce of just upsetness. I'm just bothered. Sorry, John. It took forever. I just had to say that. Get off my chest.
Well, I mean, I think everybody was looking forward to seeing Jaden Ott play, but in reality, nobody cares if Jaden Ott plays in this game. The Oklahoma Sooner coaching staff doesn't care if Jaden Ott plays in this game. They know what they're going to get from Jaden Ott. This is, to me, a way of saying, hey, Javante Barnes, Torrey Blaylock, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for all the work that you put in this summer in August when Jay Knott was out, Xavier Robinson was out, Taylor Tatum was out, and we were down to 2 running backs, and the running backs coach was having to take snaps and reps in practice so that you could keep the rotations going.
Yep.
This is a way of saying, hey, shout out to you guys. Javonte Barnes, shout out to you for all the work you've put in as an Oklahoma Sooner during your 4 years with our team. It has not gone unnoticed. And let's not sleep on the idea that Javonte Barnes actually isn't capable of being a feature back. He's proven it at different times during his Oklahoma career that he can be a really good back for you. Is he great? No, but he can be really good. And Torrey Blaylock, that dude's going to be something special. He really is. I'm not worried about it. When it comes to Michigan week 2, when Oklahoma lines up on offense for the first time, you know who's going to be the first running back that's out on the field with them? It's going to be Jay Knott.
Yeah, he's going to be a starter. Yeah.
You don't need to put his shoulder through any more wear and tear against Illinois State and risk not having him for Michigan and the long run.
And look, there's no shade to Illinois State, while at the same time, it's slight shade.
I'm sorry.
There's no shade. There's no shade against Illinois State. We're not. The team is not overlooking you. We are as fans, because again, Iowa won the game 40-0 last year. So we get now. As we break this down more, we'll break this down in this segment and more in the next, because we're going to probably go very long on this one. But Jim Nagy actually said that last night at Rudy's or whatever, at the deal that they do in the evenings on Monday night, and then Brent Venables have his presser tomorrow where he really talks to everybody. But anyway, basically Nagy was saying, shout out to Colton Sully for posting it, that this was a way to reward those backs. You know, they were the 2 guys that were available throughout fall camp. You know, Ott sat roughly for 2 weeks, you know, really was. And I think it was more so him trying to run over his teammates. And I get it. It sounds fun until you realize, oh, I'm going against SEC dudes. Yeah, that gets a little painful. I should save those hits for, you know, when they should matter the most. Mm-hmm. So we'll get that. Don't worry. He's going to play Michigan, and then you'll see him going through the rest of the season. But when I looked at this, though, John, this is what jumped out to me. First off, the wide receiver room, and we kind of talked about this, would have been a fascinating setup. Isaiah Satania, Deion Burks with like a Keontae Lewis or a Zion Kearney. Well, it looks like it's going to be Burks and Satania starting. They're going to be your 2 starting guys. You'll have Keontae Lewis out there at the other wide receiver for now. Kearney's kind of down there at the bottom, but at the same time, you don't really need to see much more out of him. He was hurt as well. You saw enough. Jermichael Carter's going to have to prove something a little bit more anyway. And then Jaren Kanak. Those are probably the 2 things that really was like, what? Outside of Odd, of course. But those 2 things I was like, what? That's interesting.
The Jaren Kanak piece is probably the most surprising, because I don't consider Jade not all that surprising necessarily. Jaren Kanak being listed atop the tight end depth chart by himself, not even in not in a co-starter situation with Will Huggins or Carson Kent, that surprised me. Brent Venables was pretty clear when he spoke with Toby Rowland in his preseason preview last week that, hey, Jaren Kanak's going to have a big year. And this kind of backs it up. This supports it. And it could simply be hey, listen, you've done all the things that we've asked you to do. You've been a team player. You've been a leader. You've shown up every day. You've been selfless. You're doing all the right things. So we're going to honor you with the start against Illinois State. Will he start week 2 against Michigan? That'll be an interesting question for us to follow. But if he goes out and he balls out against Illinois State, has 3 or 4 catches, and shows he's up to the task of blocking as a tight end, it could be one of those situations like, hey, let's see what you got. And if what you have is enough, then we'll keep rolling you out there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they continue to do with Jaren Kanak, because tight end isn't necessarily settled. And you listen to a lot of people that have been out watching practice, and they say Jaren Kanak looks good, but he also looks like a guy that's still making the transition, and he doesn't necessarily have that prototypical tight end body. But do you need him to? No, not necessarily.
No, you really don't.
It's just going to be a matter of how Ben Arbuckle chooses to use him. He's going to be a matchup problem for linebackers in the offense. We'll continue to talk about the depth chart coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. I've always got at least one or two hunches myself. So for just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot divisional winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1, this is your moment. So if you want to look at a flyer for the, let's see, MVP award, I'm looking at this one right now. Probably one that's jumping out to me. CJ Stroud, 2,500. Plus 2,500. Baker Mayfield's also plus 2,500. Brock Purdy, plus 2,800. And Dak Prescott, for you Cowboys fans, plus 4,000. Very interesting. Or if you want to crown your champion and pick someone to win the Super Bowl, of course, you know those futures is going to be very nice. Check those out. Make sure you visit the FanDuel app today and start planning for your futures bet right meow. Because Futures Days is only one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we have an important request for you here on Locked On Sooners. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out here on Locked On to make this product better and everything we do on the Locked On network. So Jay, more depth chart observations here on the offensive side of the ball. It was really interesting to me that the offensive tackle positions, it wasn't just Michael Fasusi or Jacob Sexton. It was Fasusi or Sexton or Luke Baklenko. And then at right tackle, it wasn't just Derek Simmons or Logan Howland. It was Simmons or Howland or Jake Taylor. Like, offensive tackle is not settled, like, even a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of ors in there, but at the same time, we know that, Bill Beatonbow is a guy that likes to tinker with his offensive line and find the right setup. But at the same time, to me, the expectation still is you're going to have a Fasusi Sexton setup where both of them is going to find a way to get on the field, and you're going to have Derek Simmons with Logan Howland getting on the field. It was Gabe Eichert that mentioned that he felt like, and he had said he had told this to Logan Howland, that he thought that he was a much better right tackle, that he was built for it. He moves like one. Right tackle will be better for him rather than left. But I thought what was fascinating was Luke Baklenko was the third one on the left side. I thought he was going to be the right dude. I thought he was going to be on the right side or even on the interior. But if he can play it out, if he can ball out over there at 6'6", 315, that's a really good size. I would love to see him work his way into rotating there on the left side, right there with Fasusi. Now, the fact that they got Fasusi starting after last week's scare with the little heat situation, that's very promising to see that he's back. But the position battles are going to be going. That one was big for me, John. The other one that jumped out to me, I'm going to be 100% honest, that cornerback spot. Courtland Guillory is going to start, him or Jacoby Johnson. John, like, now I know we've been talking, reckless about this young freshman, but it sounds like he's going to walk the walk with all of our talk by himself. That's awesome for him to be able to go out there and start in this game. And then he's going to give us some film. If he was able to show that he can run zone well on top of his man-to-man, oh goodness, we may have ourselves the upgrades in the secondary that we've been needing the last couple of years that we was shopping in the transfer portal to get.
Yeah, Court is about to be in session with young Courtland Guillory. He's going to be holding court out there at outside corner and casting a lot of judgments on opposing wide receivers, locking them up. No, I'm excited about this kid, man. Like, seriously, it's pretty impressive that he's been able to earn the trust of the coaching staff, earn the praise of the coaching staff, and then put himself in a position where he is a co-starter at one of those cornerback spots. That, like, Eli Bowen earned a cornerback job midway through the season, and he was getting a lot of praise, but he wasn't a starter day one. He wasn't a co-starter day one. out of fall camp. What Courtland Guillory has done has been really, really impressive. A physical dude, a guy that can cover. And this gives Brent Venables the opportunity to blitz a lot if he wants to. If he feels like he's got guys on the outside in Gentry and Courtland Guillory that can just lock guys up, he's going to be able to send a whole lot more people after quarterbacks, after a young Bryce Underwood, and just really mess with his mind. Because if you have guys that can really man up, and by all accounts, Courtland Guillory's going toe-to-toe with Oklahoma's receivers and holding up, that's really, really exciting. And that's an exciting one. It's not often you see true freshmen in there as co-starters. We saw Jaden Jackson last year, and we saw how that played out. He was really, really good for Oklahoma. If Courtland Guillory is in that position right now, I can only imagine what he's going to actually end up being for Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be something special. And we've been looking for another very special corner. Gentry Williams was supposed to have been that dude, but he dealt with all those injuries. But if he's healthy, which it shows that he's the starting corner, there's no or there. Yep. He's starting, so they're going to see if he's ready to play. And if he's out there and he's giving us what we saw 2 years ago, the one weakness we felt like we had was in the corner spot.
Last year, that was it. I mean,
last year and the year before, until Gentry showed up. No shade against any of the guys that were there, but the big thing is we lived in the transfer portal to try to fill that spot, because that was a spot that we didn't feel as comfortable with, and so we went and got a few dudes. We kept getting corners. This year, we ain't got nobody that's transferred in. These are all dudes that were recruited. And it looks like we're very confident in that spot because, again, I remind you all, this staff has shown us that they like the guys they recruit.
Yep.
And the guys they recruit seem to show out there in the field. And now you got Courtland, you've got Malik Hawkins and Tristan Haynes, and right there behind Gentry and Jeremiah Newcomb. That's going to be a very interesting battle because those three coming in together, man, that to me felt like the best corner class we had gotten in a while. It just felt like there was something different about them, especially because they're all sizey guys. The other ones like Newcomb, Devon Jordan, they were smaller corners, and Eli, but you knew that they were ones that were going to be scrappy and they were going to battle it out in the spot. Your only issue is if you go up against a Cam Coleman at 6'4", 6'5", a Nick Harbert at 6'5", and he's playing in the back corner of the end zone. Yeah, disadvantage. That's just kind of what it is. That's why you want a Jacoby Johnson, a 6'2" guy occasionally to be able to match that. But outside of that conversation, John, of course, you see all the oars at linebacker. I don't care about that. This is the first game of the season.
Linebacker's fine.
That. Cheetah, though. Kendall Daniels or Reggie Powers to start. Fascinating to see that on film. I'm actually hoping you get Kendall Daniels as the starter there. Peyton Bowen appears to be starting in this game, but I anticipate Powers to have more snaps than him in this game, as he'll probably play between Cheetah and strong safety. But I want to see Daniels and Powers together more than seeing Bowen in this game. I want to see more Bowen in the Michigan game with Powers and then Daniels rotating in. But that one is also intriguing. Lastly, no Dolby.
No Dolby yet. And that's get him right, get him healthy, and then get him on the field. Let's not push the envelope with him. When he's ready, he's ready. Same with a guy like Jaden Gibson. There's no timeline on him to return. When he's ready, he's ready. Don't push it. To me, you've got too much at stake with both of those guys. And if you don't have to rush them back, then don't rush them back. If you can get a medical exemption for this year and redshirt them and bring them back next year, I think you'd be really in a good place if you could do that. My final thing here, and this is on one David Stone. There's been so much discussion about him over the last couple of years, so much anticipation, so much excitement. There was the transfer portal entry, transfer portal withdrawal that occurred. He's done everything that you would hope a young 5-star defensive tackle could do. And now he's on the verge of the breakout. He was listed as a co-starter along with Dominic Williams. And I don't think we should take that lightly. Dominic Williams he's a captain on this team. He's somebody that has earned a lot of praise from this coaching staff for the way that he's worked this offseason to improve his game. He was a big portal addition last offseason. That David Stone has put the work in and impressed the coaching staff enough to be listed as a co-starter should be a fantastic sign for what he's about to do this year.
Same. I agree with that.
And I cannot
100%.
wait to see it.
Same. Oh my, it's going to be so much fun. Let's get it. Let's go.
So it's going to be super fun. I mean, this defensive tackle room is going to live up to the expectations. It's going to live up to the hype. And Brent Venables mentioned Jaden Jackson as a leader. This is a dude that's a true sophomore and already being given that leader responsibility from his head coach. He may not be a captain on the team yet. He will be next year but he's already been considered a leader. And I think people are going to follow his lead in toughness and work and grind. And this whole defensive line thing is just going to explode. I mean, it's going to be so good this year, and I cannot wait to see it. 10 sacks this week against Illinois State. All right, we got a couple more things to touch on here on Locked On Sooners. Was there some tampering with R. Mason Thomas at the end of last year? And we got a Sooner target that is about to make his decision. We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pills, time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next generation prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under the tongue, kicks in fast, on average 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 minutes, so you can stay confident and control when the moment is right. If traditional options have not worked, Rougiette might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. And the best part, it's completely online. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatments discreetly to your front door. So head over to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compound drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rougiette website for full safety information today.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Something that was very interesting that came out from the Rudy's Barbecue Coaches Show was that R. Mason Thomas was being offered 7 figures to leave Oklahoma at the end of last year. Jay, this has Miami written all over it.
Oh, yeah. That's 100% the Miami Hurricanes. Yes, I am calling out for tampering. I have zero proof whatsoever. In theory, I have zero proof. But it just does sound like something that Mario Cristobal and them would do down there. And I get it. I mean, it's R. Mason Thomas. Yeah. The kid's talented. Like, I expect multiple schools going after a kid that's, from the area and trying to get them to come back and play. I mean, we lost, Jalil Farouk to Maryland because he went back home to play ball at Maryland. So I can understand if they would want R. Mason Thomas because he's already got the statistics that you're looking for on a defensive lineman, and he's got the capability. So, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's a Florida boy, so why wouldn't they go after him?
Yeah, I could have seen Florida State coming too, or maybe even Florida. Those bags are going to be full, and R. Mason Thomas is one of those dudes that's worth emptying the clip for. He's a really, really good player. You have 9 sacks, 6 of which came in the SEC on a team that didn't give you very favorable game scripts. I was actually looking it up for a piece I wrote over at Sooners Wire on Monday, and R. Mason Thomas had 242 pass rush snaps, or 243 pass rush snaps last year. That was just one more than Colin Simmons, the true freshman for Texas. But do you know where Colin Simmons ranked among Texas defensive linemen in pass rush snaps? 5th. So there were 5 guys on Texas's roster that had as many or more pass rush snaps than R. Mason Thomas. And R. Mason Thomas led the Sooners in pass rush snaps last year. That just tells you how many or how few opportunities he actually got to rush the passer compared to some of the guys that are considered the elite pass rushers in college football or on some of these other really good defenses. You give him 350 pass rush snaps, and this kid might break Oklahoma's sack record this year. I know that was one of Teddy's bold predictions on their bold prediction show, is that he's going to have 14 and a half sacks and break Oklahoma's single season sack record. If Oklahoma gives him 350 or 330 pass rush snaps, I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it's very well possible, especially in some of these games we got in the first half of the season.
Yeah, you got a lot of teams that's going to be trying to pass the ball because we're dealing with a lot more teams this year that don't have that veteran running back that we're used to seeing. Like last year, you had Sampson over there at Tennessee. You had Ahmad Hardy over there at Missouri. LSU was the only one that really didn't have much of a running game going on, but Caden Durham showed up and he showed out. Same thing with Texas. I mean, they had a whole bunch of injuries, but they still was pound the ball as much as possible when it comes to running. Same thing with Auburn. They had Hunter. So a lot of these teams had veteran running backs. This year, it's now they've got their young players that's basically moving up the chain as far as the running game goes. Michigan's bringing in, Justin Haynes from from Alabama, and he did okay at Alabama. He wasn't one of their lead backs, but they're going to try to make him into a lead back there at Michigan. So for Oklahoma, we're going to see a lot of teams that have new running back systems that may end up leading them into passing the ball. We stopped a lot of teams from being able to run on us like they wanted to. Mm-hmm. We held a lot of teams under their average, especially in the run game. We were considered one of the top 10 running defenses in the country. So with that being said, the question is going to be if Oklahoma's facing the offensive line is good, defensive line as good as it was, and they're doing a really good job of stopping the run, John, teams are going to have to pass the ball, which means R. Mason Thomas may have an opportunity, especially if there's more second and longs and third and longs. They're going to have a big time opportunity for him to rush the passers more often. And if he's doing that, yeah, he could have an opportunity to break that record because I could see him having some multiple sack games quite often.
Well, teams that played Oklahoma last year, once they got a lead, they were very content to run the ball 3 times and punt it because they knew Oklahoma's offense wasn't going to be able to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They did not want to give R. Mason Thomas an opportunity for a strip sack or to force their quarterback into an interception. Because when that happened late in games, it generally did not pay off for them. No. That's not going to be the same situation for teams this year. They're going to have to throw the ball to either keep up with Oklahoma or to extend a lead against Oklahoma because Oklahoma's offense isn't going to go quietly into the night. They're going to keep battling, and they're actually going to be pretty good this year. And they're going to give this Oklahoma Sooners defense an opportunity to play with some leads, and that's going to create an opportunity for some bigger splash plays from the defensive line, from the secondary, getting turnovers, getting sacks. So it's going to be big. Last thing we want to touch on here, Jay, T Ron Richardson is going to be making his announcement on Tuesday, and that's exciting times for Oklahoma. They're in the mix with Virginia Tech. Where do you think this one's going to land, Jay?
Ooh, this one's a tough one, but I've been doing some searching through some of the recruiting sites, and it feels like a lot of people are slowly leaning Oklahoma for T Ron, and T Ron's another one of those players that's under the radar on the defensive line. And one thing that we do know that Oklahoma needs is more young defensive linemen, mainly, especially projects, mainly because our D-line is still super young with Stone, Jaden Jackson, with Marcus Strong's Trent Wilson. You got a pretty solid group of young interior guys, Nigel Smith, that are not going to be gone anytime soon. Let's just put it that way. And because they're not going to be gone for a while, as Nagy mentioned, when you're paying a 5-star player, your expectation is they're going to play. Mm-hmm. I think that's why they went after Jake Krill, because they expect Jake Krill to play like next year. Like he's going to come in here and he's probably going to be in the 2 deep immediately because that room gets thinner. You're gonna have some projects to go along with someone that's like, nope, ready to go. Throw him out there on the field. He's ready to play. But D-line, you got a lot of redshirt sophomores, and yeah. You're not dealing with a bunch of juniors and seniors. You've got a bunch of sophomores. So as next year comes in, a whole bunch of redshirt juniors and everything playing together, that's going to give you a good foundation of players that you can build upon. And you're going to, of course, go for some big-time name players next year that you're hoping could come in. If they're good enough, go and start.
Yeah, T Ron, a guy that's 6'5", 290 already. You get him into Oklahoma's strength and conditioning program, you get 20, 30 pounds more on him, and the dude could be a force.
Nasty.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued and very encouraged by this. Again, you add him to the group that Oklahoma's already recruited for 2026, and it's a strong defensive line recruiting class. And then you throw him in the mix at defensive tackle, along with Stone and Jaden Jackson and Trent Wilson, Nigel Smith for next year. Marcus Strong. And that's a really good group. Brian Harris is going to be a part of that group. The kid that committed last week, I'm blanking on the name. Tank Carrington. Yep. That's a
good
really
Tank.
strong defensive line class, dude. And it, again, just keep pushing forward. Don't sleep on it. All these recruitments, even if they don't look like they're going your way right now, things could change. And we know Oklahoma's going to play defensive tackles, and they're going to play a rotation of them. You're going to have 4 guys with over 300 snaps, and it's going to give everybody a good opportunity to play. Any parting notes here before we get out of here, Jay?
Just know that next week when we talk about this Michigan game, there is a ton of visitors coming for the Michigan game. And in that game, we'll talk to you all about a depth chart, because that's going to be the one that's going to actually matter. Now, let me
Will
go
they
ahead and
release a
preface
depth
this.
chart, though?
Let me preface this. I do sense they'll release a depth chart. They always do, but I could totally see them trolling and it not look anything like what happens at the game.
Yeah.
I can totally see them trolling us, because why not? People are going to overreact no matter what, good or bad. So go for it.
Yeah. And they just sit in their offices and laugh at us. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts for free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing to do that. So just please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner. They're going to troll us.
I'm for it. That's what college football's for.